This is Carmen at New Me, New Life. One of the other things that I was thinking about was my weight loss itself. I weigh myself every day. I probably tend to be more of a head kind of a person and not so much of a heart kind of a person, so it doesn't bother me to weigh myself every day. But what I have found, which is fascinating and kind of strange, is that, for instance, yesterday and the day before, I weighed 283.5. The day before, I think I was 284 or 5. And so what it seems like it happens is I'll lose a pound or two, and then it'll sort of sit there for a day or two, and then I might actually go up a notch. Then I come down a pound, and then maybe stay there for a day or two, and then I come down 2 pounds, and it seems like that's the process. I'm essentially eating the same thing every day. I just now, like 4 days ago, started puree. I haven't eaten a ton of puree because I'm having a hard time eating more solid food. It sits really hard in my stomach, and then I find that I don't get all of my protein, so I end up reverting back to shakes so that I can get my protein. And I'm well under the amount of calories that would actually be required to run your body at 280 something pounds. So it's weird that there are these, up and down, stay the same. I just found that that's kind of fascinating, why a person's body would do that. I've been watching some videos on different research. Is it really calories in, calories out? I think clearly in my case, that would disprove calories in, calories out, because I probably, for the amount of calories I put out a day, when I've added it up, it's been like 5,000, and I'm probably, even on a high day, might be 2,500 or 3,000. And maybe it is the foods themselves, but if you're going with the theory that it's calories in and calories out, then that shouldn't account for that. Which a lot of my doctors in the past, when I've said, I'm not losing any weight, well, you're eating too much. Well, no, actually, I'm not really eating food very much. It probably was a lot of quality, but the theory itself, calories in, calories out, doesn't account for types of food. It's strictly however many calories you expend and however many calories you put in. And since I was 24, I've worked at the post office and walked a lot. So it's always been kind of curious to me how that could possibly work. I've been watching some videos about the ketogenic diet. I'm still a little hazy on exactly how that works, because there seems like there's some kind of fasting involved or something. I've been watching some videos about different theories of obesity, and Gary Taubes, I think his name is, has some fascinating, and I've saved them on my playlist. Has it's fascinating to me that somehow we went from a society that was pretty much lean. Of course, there have always been people who've been obese throughout history, but if you just say that it's strictly about calories, he brought up some research about these. I think a doctor went to, I'm going to say like Brazil. It was a really, really poor area, and I think this was in the 60s, and the mothers were visibly obese and the children were undernourished. And that is a strange dichotomy if you really kind of break that down. And how can the two paradigms exist together, where the child is obviously not getting enough to eat and the mother is getting too much to eat? That doesn't really make sense. So one of the two paradigms have to be incorrect. So I just thought I'd bring that up. I don't know if anybody else is fascinated by that. It seems really interesting to me that that we don't really seem to have a real good grasp on how come maybe you're not losing, even if you are following everything you're supposed to be doing. Or, for that matter, I'm sure you all know people who eat the most garbage you've ever seen. They eat the most unhealthy food, huge quantities, and never gain a pound. And I'm not a huge eater, and never really have been. I don't have a sedentary job. Even on the weekends when I'm off, I still walk and am active. But I'm fat, which, is pretty strange, if you're really thinking in terms of, oh, it's because everybody's behind a computer all day and eating Cheetos, which isn't always the case. So that is all I have to say. I just was kind of fascinated and wondered if what other people were dealing with their weight loss. I mean, more as not something to be upset about, but just as something really interesting to think about. I would suggest, though, if you are more of what I would call a heart type person, that you don't weigh yourself every day, because that could be discouraging. I find it fascinating when I'm the same, but I've eaten exactly the same. I've done exactly the same thing. And I'm way under calories that you would need for a 280 plus pound person. And yet there's days when I haven't lost any weight, so yeah, if you have a hard time with that, I would say once a week, or maybe only at your doctor's appointments, because it could be discouraging to you. But if anybody else thinks that's kind of a fascinating thing and would like to talk about it in the comments or something, I would appreciate that. Thanks.